Isn't it funny how little things can make big changes?
Yeah, kind of like how it's explained in the butterfly effect.
Now, what exactly is the butterfly effect?
Well, it says that when a butterfly flaps its wings, it can create a hurricane, perfectly demonstrating the fact that little changes can cause big things.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, I think I've heard stuff like that. Isn't it, like, another part to the theory is that, like, it's a time travel cliche, if you step on a butterfly, the whole universe is changed forever.
Well, true, because every small change creates some difference in the future, which time travel is really a good example of creating large paradoxes and very changed effects depending on what you do.
Yeah, paradoxes are really, like, hard to understand. Like the grandfather paradox. If you went back in time and killed your grandpa before he met your grandma, how is that possible? Because he would have died and he would have never given birth to your dad and or your mom, and then you would have never existed. But if you never existed, then he would have never been shot or
Yes,
killed.
yes, and these paradoxes are also found in everyday life. For example, say you go to a restaurant and you find out it's too full. Now, a lot of other people with you also find that the restaurant is too full, and people suddenly just start leaving the restaurant. And then suddenly the restaurant is empty, but no one wants to go there because they think it's full, creating a paradox.
And I've had this discussion before that if you told a friend of yours, my New Year's resolution is to not make any resolutions, or to not meet any of my resolutions. You wouldn't be able to meet that one because you would be meeting a resolution, but then again, you would meet it because you couldn't meet it. And it's just never ending in a cycle that really can, with some thought, almost injure the brain. Like, it hurts so much to think about.
Yeah, and all of these paradoxes form together to create an idea or sense that time travel could probably never be possible because of all the if you traveled in time, you could create just a tiny change that would affect the entire process of making time travel. And it would just go on and on and on. So it just goes crazy.
And see, facts like this are really disappointing for people like me who really enjoy the TV show Doctor Who. And because time travel is, um, it's quite possible that time travel is impossible. That it could never exist because there are just so many paradoxes and things to factor in when we are trying to come up with this. And, I mean, really, it's just frustrating for a lot of people that the time travel will never exist because it is really cool to think about. Like, I mean, the Doctor from Doctor Who, of course, wears bow ties, and I enjoy wearing bow ties because, of course, they are cool. So, like, what would happen if I chose not to wear a bow tie one day and chose it to wear the next? I mean, just by moving a piece of fabric could possibly move the earth in a microscopic scale just by moving a cloth half an inch to the right or carrying it around on my neck all day, like as a bow tie. It's hard to think about how a lot of tiny things could affect the universe.
Yeah, and about time travel again, there are some theories like creating a portal, time portal, for example, on one day and then making another on the next day and connecting them. Because technically, you can connect the two and then travel in between them.
That's true. But how would you make the link between the one from yesterday and the one from today? Because the portal would still exist into tomorrow, the one that you built yesterday, and it would still exist today because things don't randomly disappear into the void. And I mean, you would basically just have to, but you could never get it back because you can't have something you can't have something that happened yesterday happen today. I mean, or happen exactly as it happened that day. Like, of course, your dog could have bitten you yesterday, and then he bit you again today, but it's possibly not on the same spot in your body, not as hard, not as with much pounds per square inch force when they bite you. And I mean, it could nothing can happen twice in the exact same way.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, time travel does become possible, and then it could happen. But then there's the paradox of the time travelers, and they would possibly affect things. So no, it couldn't happen twice. It's impossible.
So there's the problem. You can't really travel back in time. And this brings us back to the butterfly paradox, where even though something really minute and small changes, it will never be the same ever. So, with these small changes comes also difference in time and space.
It's hard to think that possibly me blinking my eyes twice in the next second, or blinking them once, could lead to an apocalypse, in theory. It very well could be. So that's why you have to think. You can never feel insignificant, because even the most insignificant things you do can affect the world and everything in it.